Well, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little bit different today. I'm here joined with Eric the Cyborg, and we both saw Sonic 3 the other day. I saw it in my end, obviously, here in Utah, and he saw it on his end. So he had the bright idea, along with his counterpart Shadow, to do a movie discussion. So we're going to do it in two parts, one without spoilers and one without. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. And right before we go into spoilers, we're going to give our final score, score out of 10. And we will go into spoilers after that. So, yeah. My impression of Sonic 3 is, well, first off, I should say Sonic 1 and 2 I did enjoy, but they were more like popcorn films to me. The first one was a great introduction, great interaction with the fan base, considering how they had to revamp the image of Sonic. We all know how that went, and it worked out. It worked out really well.
Yeah,
Because it could have been so horrible and so trash, but they actually listened to their fan base, and we got what we wanted, basically. So I love Sonic 1. I would give that probably a 6 out of 10. The second one dipped a bit for me, mainly because the stuff with the humans just dragged it really down for me. That whole wedding debacle was not it. It destroyed it, and basically for me, that film is a 5 out of 10. But the stuff with Knuckles and Sonic and Tails was really good, really good. Definitely the best part of that film. This one, on the other hand, was a ramp back up. They dialed back the humans, the bad ones at least, and then dialed up the stuff with Team Sonic and now Shadow and Eggman. So, yeah, that's my whole thing. And Eric, you are obviously the bigger fan of Sonic the Hedgehog than I am, probably anyone in the whole team. So before we give final verdicts, we will let's listen to your input on Sonic 3.
oh man, where do I begin with this one?
Uh,
To be
no
quite honest,
no spoilers. That's where you can start.
I'll be well. Obviously, not yet.
Yeah,
But for right now, this is hands down the best of the three movies so far. Want to give my rundown on the first two, like you did. With the first movie was, of course, a very great introduction to how they're doing this version of Sonic,
hmm
aside from the video game counterpart, because they're having them be separate characters in a way, while
yeah,
also keeping them the same. You can catch my drift.
hmm
Yeah, the first one was perfectly good. I personally would give that one a 7 out of 10 for the first one. Of course, like the first time, like having Jim Carrey being Eggman at first, to me was kind of iffy
it was a little risky.
because of, yeah, it was a little risky because I'll tell you one thing. The one thing that you don't want to do is, especially with a fandom like this, is really piss them off.
Yeah,
Because obviously, from what you know of the horrid original design for Sonic that they had,
horrible.
there was the huge backlash on that. Was literally forced them to delay the movie like half a year, I think, just to redo Sonic's design and then edit him into the whole movie,
Yeah,
which was the best thing that they ever done.
yeah,
That's the biggest thing that Paramount has ever done aside from casting Keanu for Shadow.
yeah,
I can agree on the second movie being a downgrade because of all the stuff with the humans and the whole wedding scene. Because honestly, that was the big poor side of the whole movie. For movie two
yeah,
was the whole wedding stuff and all that other crap. But aside from seeing all that stuff, everything about showing off Knuckles, bringing Tails into it is basically a bigger rendition of Sonic 3, like the video game Sonic 3,
yeah.
not the
Yeah.
yeah, is basically just a bigger interpretation of that game, but with its own twists. This one, however, is the really big one. This one was just like this one honestly to me had to make or break the trilogy
Yeah.
because they were bringing in one of if not the most famous characters in the entire franchise,
Yeah.
aside from Sonic. I mean, like Shadow has a bigger fan base in the entire franchise itself. It's like you had to cast the right the right person to be his voice,
Yeah.
and they did that spectacularly with Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves definitely does
There was
bring in like that dark, brooding,
Yeah,
monotone voice that Shadow really needed.
yeah. There was literally no other choice that they could have done except for Keanu. If they were to go with any of the actual video game voice characters, I think having the original voice actor Jason Griffith from the actual game that Shadow debuted in would probably be the best one. And then from all the references that were throughout the movie, if you're obviously a huge Sonic fan, you'll see every single reference that they have throughout the movie.
I'm sure you did.
Aside from others that don't know too much of it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like they had references to obviously Sonic Adventure 2. Some references were for Shadow the Hedgehog. Some were for some of the other games. Yada.
Yeah.
But again, if you know how to look and where to look at them, then you'll know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and go into our final scores, and we'll get into spoilers. So for me, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Mainly on two factors. One is which I'll get into when we get into spoilers, and two, it's the fact that I'm not the biggest Sonic fan. I'm not a super hardcore fanboy, like yourself or or anyone else. But as a film critic and movie maker brain that I have, I was able to thoroughly enjoy this, not just as a popcorn movie like I view the other ones, but as an actual, I don't want to say bookend because there is, if people already know, there's going to be a fourth one. They're not so much a bookend, but a nice add-on to an already great series. So it was definitely enjoyable, but there are some moments where I was a little iffy, but like I said, we'll get into spoilers. So I'm comfortable playing this as a 7 out of 10 for now.
Well, for me, obviously being a Sonic fan and everything about it, I would give this a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
I would give it a straight 10 out of 10, aside from, again, which will be in the spoilers for all the stuff later on, but aside from everything else, this movie was just absolutely perfect.
Yeah. All right, well, without further ado, let's just go ahead and just jump right into those spoilers. So let's just go into the spoiler section real quick. Jump into spoilers, that's your warning. So the reason why I can't give it any higher than a 7 is because Metal Sonic arrives in the post-credit scene. Now that's not a bad thing. Out of every character in the entire Sonic universe, Metal Sonic and all its variations is my favorite. I'm a Metal Sonic fanboy. I love it. So I want to give this movie a 9. I told this to Eric yesterday. I want to give this a 9 out of 10 because Metal Sonic showed up at the very end. However, I have to wait and see how the fourth one does and see how well they utilize the character of Metal Sonic to make sure that 9 out of 10 is justified. So that's why I have it at a 7 out of 10 and not a 9 out of 10, which is what I want to put it at. But yeah, Metal Sonic shows up at the end, and who else shows up at the end, Eric?
Obviously, another big fan favorite character, Amy Rose.
Amy! Oh,
My Go ahead.
I'm hoping that they stick with her not cringy, but like overly affectionate love for Sonic, like the no filter kind of thing, because I think that is would just absolutely be hilarious. So I'm hoping that they go for that version of Amy, but you know, I can't really say for sure, but I think that would be a funny road for them to go down.
Yeah, I mean, so far based on her on the design that they chose her to like be like, oh, like she's like cloaked up, just like hiding her herself and stuff like that. I could see them going how they're having her currently in the video games, where she's like, oh, she's more like confident in herself. She wants to like explore the world more, like,
Okay.
and not be like, from what you said, like being the highly affectionate person that just chases Sonic around.
Yes or no? Sonic says I'm the prettiest girl in the world. No way, Jose. Oh,
But yeah, another thing too is that apparently, um, obviously, if you watch the post-credit scene, you'll see because they race at the end of the movie to have their actual decision on would who would win in a race between the three of them.
hmm
Sonic apparently goes all the way to New York.
which is not that far of a stretch, honestly.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. It's like, I don't know how he could just keep running and just end up in New York somehow. Like, but okay, I guess that's perfectly fine. And then he's obviously wondering on like how he's gonna get back. And then out of nowhere, just Terminator reference, Metal Sonic just shows up in a Terminator style,
Yeah,
which uh, honestly, I feel like that was the perfect way to actually have him like debut
it
in a
was.
way.
It was the perfect way because that's Metal Sonic Mark One, right?
No, that is
Which version is
no,
that?
because throughout the entire series of the game, Metal Sonic has had different designs and variations. Because the first design for Metal Sonic was from Sonic 2, and he was just all silver.
Okay.
This Metal Sonic, for everyone that knows, from what every like pure Sonic fan knows, it is the most definite version of Metal Sonic that debuted in Sonic CD.
Okay.
It is like it is the key essential design that Sega just sticks with.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So based on
Go ahead.
so knowing that the fourth movie is going to have both Amy and Metal Sonic in it, my biggest thing is that the fourth movie is going to be heavily focused on how Sonic's CD was, and they're going to have time travel with it.
Oh. So we talking like multiverse theory kind of stuff, or just basic time travel?
Just basic time travel stuff. Because
Okay.
the whole point of Sonic's CD, one of the big gimmicks of Sonic's CD was that there were different like goalposts that you like run through, and depending on like how fast you go in the game, you're given the depending on which goalpost you go through, you'll go either to a past version of the stage or a future version of the stage.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and then another thing too is that earlier today I was watching this video that was like going into a deeper dive on the post-credit scene on why there were so many, why there was multiple Metal Sonics.
Yeah, that's actually a question that I was going to bring up to you, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, from what I've heard from that video, is that it's a reference to one of the old comics of Sonic from like the Archie era. Um, of a, I do know of this. It's something called Metallics. It's basically a giant red metal Sonic that basically like makes infinite copies of himself,
Ooh.
which is like which is like all the basic forms of Metal Sonic. I'm seeing people like say like they're probably gonna go something up that route maybe, but again, it's like we don't know fully yet because we have to wait till like 2027 for the fourth movie. So it's going to be a long while until we actually get concrete details.
Yeah, because the first one was 2020. 2 years later, we got Sonic 2. And then 2 years after that, we got Sonic 3. And now we have to wait 3 years. Yeah, but it's whatever. If they're going to take longer, then I'd rather them take longer and do it right than take a shorter time and then half-ass it. But yeah. But that's one thing I wanted to ask you about the multiple Metal Sonics, because I originally asked you if Dr. Robotnik was the original creator of Metal Sonic, which you confirmed he was, and so I was, just wondering, like, since we're in spoilers, Robotnik, Jim Carrey's Robotnik dies in the end, saving the world from the canon. So having Metal Sonic appeared, thought it was a possibility that he might still be alive if that's the case, or if it was something that he made previously. Someone else got their hands on it, but since you brought up time travel, that's another theory that might, push it in. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, because for that, it's like, again, if the fourth movie does go the route of Sonic's TV and actually incorporates time travel, there could be a possibility that they save Eggman from being killed in the from him sacrificing himself, or something else saves him from that. We don't fully know. But to be honest, if this is Jim Carrey's final role as Eggman, this is a proper send off.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they wrote the script like this because, Jim Carrey for the past few years has always been saying, like, he's going to retire from filmmaking. He wants to focus on family. He doesn't want, basically he wants to retire. But he keeps coming back as Eggman. So I think that they wrote the script in this particular way so that way if he does choose to retire, this is a great send-off for him. But at the same time, if he's able to come back for the fourth one, they can, find a way to write him back in, you know what I mean? So I think that's probably why they ended Sonic 3 this way. But yeah, let's talk about Jim Carrey's Robotnik for a minute. I was like you from the beginning. What?
Before we continue on that, I just want to add on to the whole thing of like having him saved and all that, because we know at the final post-credit scene, Shadow lived in the explosion as well.
He got his
so there's a possibility that Shadow saved Eggman before the explosion happened.
Yeah. All right, so let's dive into Jim Carrey's Robotnik. I was like you, skeptical at first with how they designed Robotnik's, overall aesthetic. Because when he was first introduced in the first movie, he didn't look a thing like Eggman. So I was a little worried about that. But with that being said, I think that in the end, that was a smart thing that they did. Because he starts out as, I guess, a normal guy in the full scope of things. And then through each film, he gradually transforms into Eggman. The first one, he's mostly dressed in black. Then he gets a little red in his suit. Then he goes into the other dimension. He goes bald and gets a little bit of a mustache. Second movie, he still has like that look on his face with the mustache and the bald head and the goggles, and then he gets a full on like Eggman suit.
Yeah.
And in this one, he has all that, plus he gets a little bit, heavier and round, like a little bit more fat, like Eggman is. So I think that natural progression like that was just absolutely perfect. And Jim Carrey knocked it out of the park in this one. He was definitely the best part of the entire movie. being able to, but probably by far the I'm just throwing this out there, the funniest moment in this entire film for me and everyone else in that theater is when he kills his grandpa. Gets the quill, sneaks up behind him and zaps him with it. It's like, my grandfather knew how to make a good bug zapper. I'm expecting this big explosion, but it's like, when that I was honestly expecting like a big explosion or like it to destroy the reactor, but just a little, zap. I don't know. That was comedic gold.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, having Jim Carrey just be cast as Eggman was absolutely perfect in the end. It's like, I mean, Jim Carrey himself just brings a lot of character.
He does.
To whatever role he plays.
Yeah, there's literally no other actor that I can think of that can capture Dr. Robotnik's like eccentric attitude and charisma more than Jim Carrey. I mean, it's literally his acting style is Eggman, if you think about it.
Yeah. Also, like, with him, like, progressing, like, into, like, being closer in design to Eggman was also the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because how he is in this movie is the most accurate design with the new, like, suit he gets with the gold buttons on it.
Yeah.
That's like the most accurate to like his in-game counterpart.
Yeah.
Which I really hope they make into an actual jacket because I do want that jacket.
Yeah, that they'd be stupid not to. I could definitely see you wearing that jacket. Hell, I'd get you that jacket.
I would just constantly wear that if I could, because obviously Eggman is one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise. Like all the robots he builds are also my favorite. It's like just like everything about him is just perfect.
But you would have to shave your head if you did that.
I mean,
you gotta.
I won't shave it, but I'll get a bald cap.
Oh yeah. Well, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, guys, go see this movie. If your kids want to see something this weekend or next weekend, take them to see Sonic 3. Do not take them to see Mufasa, the Lion King. That was a terrible shit show. It was not great. So take them to see Sonic 3. And yeah, Eric, thank you so much for joining me in this review and giving me this great idea to share our thoughts about this. But yeah, if you guys like this, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down below for notifications. And if you want to see more movie reviews, let us know in the comments and we'll make that happen. We see movies often, both old and new, and we love sharing our thoughts. So yeah, let us know and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later, guys.